Hello, welcome to another video from the Fantasy Legion. It's Joe Burrow today we're talking about. I know you're
Oh, that's
anxious
exciting.
to get your claws into him.
Oh, very excited to talk about
if you're a
him.
Joe
Yeah,
Burrow fan, look away now, I think. So,
well, if you've seen the previous video before landing spot, I kind of talked a little bit about some of the concerns I have with him. Maybe today you can probe me for, kind of a deeper analysis of him.
Well, I will be, yeah. That's the whole point of this second video, follow-up video.
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of knew he's going to land with the Bengals anyway. He's got lots of weapons already. Obviously, they added T. Higgins to AJ Green, Auden Tate, Tyler Boyd, and John Ross. He's got Mixon out the backfield. A couple of other nice sort of... He's got Gio Bernard still there and a couple of other younger running backs. Obviously, they can't get any worse because they got first pick this year. So...
Yeah,
is he the franchise quarterback you can rely on going forward?
No, he's not. He's another bust, and I mean this with all happiness to say it. Sorry,
no, you'll look back with happiness. That's a bit harsh.
Well, you'll be, when you're looking at certain Dynasty leagues, Superflex leagues, and things like that, you could look back at this video and say either I was absolutely staunch-blonkingly wrong, or absolutely was the first out the gate to say it. I'm sorry to say this, but I've seen this kind of person come and go many, many times, and there are a lot of concerns. I've got a lot of issues. I mean, we can start with attitude, for example.
He kind of did come round with his attitude, though, didn't he? He did sort of... someone obviously had a word in his ear, and he became a bit less cocky. He spent, draft night at home with his mum and dad, not that he could really go anywhere. I mean, he seemed...
Well,
humble.
let's remember at this stage of the year, let's be honest, I mean, only a fool doesn't say the right things. But because what you've got...
There's plenty of them in the NFL, we know about that.
Well, let's be honest. So let's think about this for a minute. So, does a coach at this time of the year say that their number one draft pick's a bust? No, they won't. They won't tell you that player's got an attitude. They're not going to tell you anything. They're going to say, he's really good. I'm really pleased we got him in our team. He's a real good presence.
I mean, they picked him overall one. They don't think he's a bust, obviously, do they?
You're not gonna say anything negative about a player, right? And the same comes for players coming in. They're not, even if they don't like the team, he didn't want to play for Cincinnati.
Well, he did change his mind, kind of. I mean,
of course he
is from Ohio, isn't he? So
look at Jim Kelly. Jim Kelly was honest, said, I don't want to play for the Buffalo Bills. I don't want. There was all this stuff.
He didn't. He went
on. Exactly. He went elsewhere. Went and played over in Canada for a year.
Exactly. He went into the CFL.
Right. John Elway got his way out as well because he didn't like the team. This guy said it clearly. I don't want to play for Cincinnati. Come up the board, come and get me. He doesn't even want to be there. That's the first thing. He's
actually channeled that now. He's saying that.
Well, you got.
I want to prove I'm that good. I can win him even in Cleveland.
I've seen it. Next he'll be saying in the next few weeks. The squad around me is
Cincinnati. Sorry.
Yeah, the squad around me is so good we can win the Super Bowl. You'll see it all coming. It's like Ryan Leaf all over again. Look, this guy's got big issues. Now, if you don't think attitude matters, if you don't think these things matter, I just want to put something to you. It's a British analogy, so please bear with me. But for those Americans watching, it will make sense if you consider this in sport. Back in the 90s, mid-90s, one team in the UK changed their ethos and the way they did things, and that was Man United. They were ahead of the curve, along with Arsenal, ahead of the curve for how players have to behave to get the maximum out of their athletic ability. And that change made Man United win the league 4 times out of 5 years, guaranteed, over Liverpool, who literally had the Spice Boys, right? We didn't win. Now, you come back to today, modern football, right? The NFL, no different than everywhere now. Sports science plays a huge part in it. So does psychology. This guy comes in, does all the wrong things before you even start. So, yeah, you had a 60-touchdown year. I'm not saying that it wasn't a great career. God, it was a great career. I want to just take a look, just start examining his tape and looking at what kind of things fell for him and what things were wrong. There's some tells in the way he plays. There's some issues with the way he does things. The way he actually, his presence in the locker room apparently is a problem. God, the guy, we're in the modern NFL and you're smoking cigars, buddy. Let me tell you, if that's the beginning of a red flag for me, let me tell you, you can't even get that bit right. All that stuff should be out of the public eye.
Yeah, but we've all been young and foolish. He's only a young lad. I mean, he could back. I mean, he threw for 5,671 yards, 60 touchdowns, won the Heisman. I mean, you can afford to have the odd cigar, when you've had that sort of year, surely.
Good for you, but I'm picking drop fantasy players that are going to be relevant on my team for years to come, and you ain't it. You're going to have to prove it to me. You are not it. I'm going to tell it straight. You don't have it. You are going to be found out.
I want to dig into the locker room thing again because I haven't really heard that. I know he was making sounds about not wanting to go to Cincinnati, but what are the things you've heard about the locker room? What are the rumours there that worry you?
The concerns are things like the way that he would gravitate certain kinds of players around him. These are negative players. These are players that have a locker room presence, but also negative on the whole team. The way that everything is about him. Everything is about him padding every stat that year. Was all about him building this presence. You've got to remember the year before that, he didn't have any of this. Yeah, none of this. So he had one phenomenally great year, right? Yeah. In life, we all have outliers, right? I'll say that but I know that's a fact, right? I'm glad that my outlier season was the season we won it all, right? I'd rather have that. That's the time to have an outlier. It's when it counts, yeah? College is great. It's brilliant. And the outlier for him is brilliant. Well done, yeah? Because that's got you an NFL #1 pick. I'm not so sure it's totally deserved, okay? There are a lot of your teammates who've also gone on and done well, right? So you've got them fed. Well done. But there's an issue here for this guy. There's a big, big ego problem issue. One thing, I've got all the respect for quarterbacks. You've got to be able to have a bit of swagger about you. That's important. You've got to. You've got to believe certain things, but you've got to be able to back him up in the season. I want to see a bit of humility from this young guy. When you go out there in the NFL, you'll get eaten alive by these corners and safeties because what you're going to see is blitz packages like you've not seen before. None of it can be coached in college because you don't have the speed, the technique, and the skill at that level. You're taking another step up. It's like going from non-league to the league. It's a big deal, college to NFL. Quarterback position, the nuances are so much greater. He pretty much lived on 4 audibles all of last season. And, they all worked. It's lazy. Right, I didn't see any kind.
Well, if they work, why would you change it? If it's don't break, you don't.
Because when you come to the NFL level, you are going to have to change them. 4 won't do it.
What's interesting for me is, like you say, with these guys that win, and it's often all about them, or it's perceived about them. I want to see him mature, but the thing is, how do they take adversity? Because players like that will blame everything other than themselves.
Success is.
I really want to see how he fares when he's had a year of adversity. I know he's had, problems in his college career, but this is the sort of thing I want to see him mature, become better, learn. Yeah. I mean, because he's a young guy, you've got to give him some slack. I mean, there's lots of idiot bonehead NFL players that do.
If I'm coaching him, this is exactly what I'm saying to you today is how I'll be approaching him. You've done nothing. You've achieved nothing.
This is like Brian Clough at Leeds United, which is another football.
This is honestly how
United. This is throw all your medals in the bin.
Yeah, chuck it. I would honestly is how I'd be approaching him today. If we chose him, if my organisation, I'll be honest, I'd be disappointed if our organisation chose him. I'm not going to tell him that straight as the coach. I'm disappointed we got you. You're lucky to get Cincinnati. That's what I'd be saying to him. And the truth of it is, you're going to have to prove to us that you're the leader we need because, quite frankly, not only is my job on the line, but also so's your son. Because the thing is, in these teams, within 2 seasons, teams will have made their mind up on the quarterback. You got paid. Now you're going to have to learn it. And I'm going to teach you everything you need to know. But you better listen because if you're not prepared to listen, I'm telling you, I'm going to bench you because I've had enough. And that's how it seems to me with him. He needs some tough love and he needs it quick because his ego is massive. I think they've only barely kept it. But
I would try and handle it in a different way. I'd say, look, you've done all that, but you've now got to take to the next level. And this is what you need to do. If you don't, you're gonna face some pitfalls. So you've really now's where you start learning. Now's where you start earning your reputation that build on your reputation going forward.
The best quarterback I ever saw take his knocks and learn from it is Troy Aikman. They went, whatever it was.
Legend. So.
They went something like 1 win in the first season and 15 losses or something. in the first
tough,
season.
Isn't it? That's tough for her.
And he got sacked, 65 times or something in that season. And every time I watched him play, the one thing that stood out was you saw this kid kind of mature into what I can only describe as one of if you doubted his ability, what you saw in the field was toughness, right? And as a player, I was looking at it as a coach, I'm thinking, this is the toughest son of a gun I've ever seen in my life. I'm looking at him getting battered, and I'm thinking, he never shows it. He gets back up. He goes into the huddle. He doesn't blame anybody. He cracks on. And even though they had a terrible year, I said to my son at the time, that is a future Hall of Famer, and he will win the Super Bowl. And at the time, that looked ridiculous. But that's what you got with him, because there was a toughness quality. I don't see that in this guy. I see someone who is going to melt really quick under the spotlights, particularly when it goes wrong, and he's going to throw a lot of players, or try to, under the bus. And that will be the coach will be one of the first to go. It's the usual story. It's everybody but the player, always to start with. And I get that. It's business, and that's how it goes. But he has got, he'll have a couple of years, 2 or 3 years, because they invest a lot of stock in him, like all quarterbacks. But he worries me greatly. If he can come in and show some toughness, even if it goes badly wrong, carries on showing good leadership in the huddle, and I don't see any kind of, I see someone, even when they're losing, giving it 100%, saying, come on, we've still got this. You win me over, and I'll come back and I'll apologise. But what I've seen doesn't give me any of those kind of reasons to believe. And I actually a very quick swerve here, because I've seen you come, I've seen this type goer before, and you're no different than them. You've not shown any kind of quality.
Let's give him a chance. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. I'm
all about giving quarterbacks a chance. We talked about Daniel Jones last year.
Oh, yeah, Andrew Luck, we did, yeah.
We're all about giving quarterbacks a chance. I really am. And I'm doing this for his own good. I'm doing this for fantasy good. And I'm going to avoid this pitfall. I'll let everybody else take him. I've got 2 other targets I much prefer. And I'll be targeting them in drafts, and have done, to be perfectly honest with you, as much as I can. So, I'm much happier with them at the moment. Now, he could be something, because he's going to have every chance. But I don't believe it.
He's shown he can put in a great season. That absolutely, totally. It was mind blowing, really, wasn't it? To throw 5,671 yards in a year and 60 touchdowns. I know you're talking about him padding stats, but that shows he has talent. So let's just hope he can put it together. I'm looking forward to seeing him. I can't wait for the season to see all these rookies in action. How much will T. Higgins get on to play with him? And will AJ Green ever play again? Will he play more?
I'm going to be watching. I'm going to be watching the Bengals with some interest this season for the first time in a while. I'm really interested to see what he honestly, genuinely does when the blitzes come, and there'll be a lot of them. I'm looking to see how he copes with defenders dropping off the way that they don't do in college. If he can show in those first few games, even though it will be tough for him, that kind of maturity where I think, you know what, full credit. I'll come back and revisit this. But I suspect what we'll be looking at is a player that really has a tough time year one. And we'll talk why he had that tough time next year, because I could see it coming, to be honest with you. Won't be surprised. What do you predict their win record would be if you had to be honest with Cincinnati? It's quite an interesting division.
There's too many, at this stage, there's too many unknown things. We don't know when the season's going to start. We don't know how much training he'll have. I suspect, probably secretly, a lot of these teams are doing, they've got these big facilities. They won't all be close together, but they'll be throwing passes probably one end to the other. Doing drills. You still can social distance from doing drills, can't you? If you're doing
I suspect they'll all have the playbooks. The difficulty is you want to bring the whole team together. So, obviously,
that's not doable at the moment, no, is it?
No, a quarterback needs to work behind offensive line. You need to be able to, practice the nuances, things like that. He won't be able to do that. And I'm not saying he's not capable. Of course he is. He threw 60 touchdowns. Of course he's capable. You don't do that by chance.
And not many interceptions either. So,
you don't do that by chance. But I have huge reservations over his actual true ability. And I think, he's built a fantastic resume. But then again, you're interviewing for one of the highest paid jobs in the world. I think he's done very well to build that resume.
No, he got his way. He got the number 1 pick overall. So that's always nice to know. So let's see if he can earn it in the future. Is Sean being very harsh on Joe Burrow, or what are your thoughts? Do you agree with Sean? Is he missing something? I mean, give him pelters in the comments. That's what we all like. Well, that's what I like. But
Well, I'm okay. I'm okay taking
a very
any
harsh taskmaster at times, but
I'm okay taking any negativity on board.
Well, it's not negativity, but I mean,
I like it when people have.
I like that.
I like it when people have a different opinion, and I'm also interested to see how it pans out because I don't. I really genuinely like all quarterbacks to do well, but there are some that, they'll do it from a more difficult position. He's got he's ticked all the boxes, but there's a, it's a kind of a classic thing. It's like, I think him and his agent have done a brilliant job at masking his issues. And I think that has built him the number one pick. We're just about to find out whether he can continue to keep that mask on or whether those issues come to light. We'll find out.
Let's face it. I mean, they why not gamble on him? They've got to, haven't they? They need a franchise quarterback. Somebody can, he's a guy that could be a difference maker, and it'd be interesting to see how he gets on. So if you've enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. Give Sean pelters in the comments. We all like that. Subscribe for more.
And if you are Joe Burrows and you want to know what your tendencies are, make a comment. I'll speak to you individually. Don't worry. I'll tell you exactly what you're doing.
I'll give you some one-on-one coaching.
I'll give you some one-to-one. Yeah, I'd love to give you some tough love. I'll certainly.
This is the sort of coaching I get from him. He's terrible.
I know I can be tough. I can be tough sometimes, but most of the time, very kind on quarterbacks. But this one needs this, and you will also need this because at some point in some leagues, you'll want to pick a quarterback, particularly in Superflex. He's not the one you target first. Let's just put it that way. If you have to, fair enough.
I would target him first, probably, just because of Tua's injury worries. And, I want to see what he's going to do. Okay. I mean, like I say, subscribe for more. If you want to go and check out more of our videos, and we've got lots about rookies on our website, fantasylegion.com. And so check that out, and we'll see you on the next one.
We will indeed. We'll see you then.